Packrafts can be classified into two types. Flatwater packrafts, which are used for lakes and maybe class 1 rivers with no waves and things like that, and river packrafts, which are meant for class 1 plus or higher rivers. Now the question comes, can you use a flatwater packraft on a river? And the answer is yes, but with a caveat, with an asterisk, with some parentheses. The problem with most flatwater packrafts is that they are truly ultralight. They may not have the most durable construction, they may not use the most durable materials, and they may not contain some of the features that allow you to be safer in moving water. Now, flatwater packrafts are very appealing because they're often less than 2 pounds in weight. So you want to take them on a river, especially a backcountry river, because they're so light. But I would caution against that. The problem is, on the other end of the spectrum, there are packrafts that are river worthy and especially whitewater worthy, and they can weigh 5, 6, 8, 10 pounds apiece. So that may be overkill for some of our river packrafting needs, especially when we're not in super rowdy whitewater. Therefore, it would seem like the market is ripe for a boat that bridges the gap between the two. And this boat could have the potential to be a very versatile backcountry tool. It would be light enough that you could use it in Alpine Lake, go fishing, you could use it for river crossings, mild whitewater, and in the right hands, it might get you through some big rapids in a pinch. So that's the topic of today's review. We're going to look at one of these so-called bridge boats. It's the Alpacka Scout. Alpacka raft calendar, Alpacka raft sticker. This is really what we're after. This is the Alpacka Scout Packraft. This is the inflation bag that goes with it. This looks like a seat. So you must be able to strap a seat in the new Scout, which is pretty nice. I want to tell you why I think this is a cool boat. A lot of packrafts are focused on whitewater paddling, so they are 5, 6, 7, 8 pounds. This is not exactly the type of water the Alpacka Scout was designed for, but it's nice to have the option just to have a boat that you can do an easy class 1 river with, or use it for the occasional river crossing, or paddle in an alpine lake, things like that. Now, a lot of the ultralight boats, like those that are made by Supai and let's see, I have an old Curtis Designs raft, and the boats that are made by Climate. These are all great little boats, and they're really light, so 2 pounds or less, but they're not very durable, so not a great option for backcountry river travel. This is the Scout, and this is my hope for the ideal backcountry boat. So it's plenty durable, it has bigger tubes than the ultralight boats, but it's still nice and light, and I'd much rather carry something like this than one of my whitewater boats. Now what makes the Alpacka Scout particularly appealing is that its weight is around that 3-pound range, and it doesn't contain all the fluff features that a lot of the whitewater boats have that you don't need in milder waters. No spray skirt, tie-down points, no elaborate seat, smaller tubes, no thigh straps. However, it does contain one key feature that is really important, I think, in moving water, and that is the extended butt. The stern of the boat is made with an enlarged tube. Keeps it very stable in moving water. Let's check it out. The Scout weighs 2.5 pounds. It's remarkably light for a boat that has a reasonable amount of durability and fabrics that have a reasonable amount of tear strength. The Scout's tube fabric is a 200 denier nylon, similar to that which is used on their other boats. However, it has a lighter polyurethane coating, which results in substantial weight savings. The standard floor on Alpacka's boats is made with an 840 denier fabric. The Scout uses a 400 denier fabric, so you lose some durability, but it's still surprisingly durable and should be able to handle light abrasion over your typical riverbed. The lighter fabrics combined with fewer features means that this is a much more packable and much lighter boat than your typical whitewater boat. However, it also means that you have a much more durable boat than your typical ultralight flatwater packraft. The features are very simple but very useful. There's an inflatable seat, there's a grab loop on the stern, there's the enlarged stern which improves its stability in moving water, double inflation valves. The big one allows you to use an inflation bag to deliver a lot of air to the boat, and then a mouth valve to tighten things up. The boat comes with an inflation bag, a stuff sack, and a repair kit. 10-inch diameter tubes means that the Alpacka Scout is not going to be able to resist taking on a lot of water in class 2 or higher water, but at the same time it provides enough flotation to make it useful in rivers.
In addition to river crossings and paddling lakes, I think this type of river is the ideal type of boat for the Scout. The Scout is durable enough to have some abrasion resistance on the wood that is going to be in a small brushy river like this. It's small enough and maneuverable enough with its tubes and large stern that you can navigate some moving water and tight twists and turns and a few small rapids and things like that. If I know I'm not at great risk of dumping my boat, I can just put my pack in the bow. I don't have to fool around with tie-down straps or anything like that. That said, you can certainly buy accessory tie-down straps and glue them to your Scout and use those to tie your pack down in the event of an emergency. But generally, this boat is designed to hold your pack in the bow in fairly mild water where you don't worry too much about dumping your boat and losing your pack. Just the ability to have a little tiny boat in the backcountry and be able to pop it into a little river like this, oh man, it's nice. 2.5 pounds. You can get a paddle that's easily, in the 1.5 pound range or even lighter than that, or even go with a single paddle. A real light life jacket like this that weighs 1 pound or less, and a repair kit for a few ounces, and you have a complete pack rafting kit in the 5 pound range. It's remarkable. There's mosquitoes tonight. I love that I can keep this boat package into a tiny little container the size of a small tent, and I can just keep it in my truck, and when I feel like it, I can go for an evening paddle like I'm doing tonight. I'm on the Laramie River in southeast Wyoming. Beautiful blue sky, everything's quiet, there's no wind. There's wildlife on the water with ducks and geese and herons. Trout are rising, there's mosquitoes, so there's that. But I'll take it. It's a beautiful, calm evening. There's trout rising everywhere. I have to bring my Tinkara rod next to me. So to me, the Scout seems like one of the most versatile pack rafts I've ever used. It's light, it's small, it goes anywhere with you. It's a great boat for recreational day floating. It's a great boat to put in your backpack for the incidental, fairly mild backcountry river, fishing alpine lakes with it, or crossing big rivers when you don't feel like swimming. It's much more maneuverable than the old Alpacka Scout. It tracks a whole lot better, and it's a lot more stable in moving water.
Now for the next part of this review, I want to focus on how the Alpacka Scout handles whitewater. Now let's get it out there right away. The Alpacka Scout is not designed for whitewater. Some would argue that it's not even designed for river travel. As an ultralight backpacker who wants to push the limits of his gear, I think those assumptions are ridiculous, and we need to understand how these products react at their limits, and that's really the purpose of what I'm doing here. That said, I'm not advocating that you use the Alpacka Scout for whitewater river travel. So in the next sequence of clips, you're going to see me paddling the Alpacka Scout on some mild class 3 whitewater with some splashy waves, and we'll see how it does in terms of stability, how much water it takes on, and how maneuverable it is in tricky whitewater situations where you've got waves crashing to your side and you need to course correct and things like this. as you can see, the Alpacka Scout did okay in this kind of whitewater. Now this isn't technical whitewater. They're just big waves created at a local whitewater park. It's not a technical class 3 or higher whitewater river where you've got sharp rocks protruding and twists and turns and things like that. So in that situation, I'd probably want a boat with bigger tubes. However, it's important to note 3 things. 1, I didn't capsize my boat. 2, I was able to maneuver it just fine even when I had waves coming in over the side of my boat. And number 3, when I went down into the holes, that enlarged stern kept me afloat and prevented that end over end flipping that often occurs when the stern of your boat gets stuck in a hole. I was able to paddle out of those holes successfully, and to that end, I give the Alpacka Scout a pretty big thumbs up for whitewater because I've never really been able to deal with this kind of water with one of the ultralight flatwater packrafts. But again, the Alpacka Scout is not designed for this, and if I knew that this was the type of water I was going to be paddling, I'd pick a whitewater boat. However, it's nice to know that the Alpacka Scout can handle incidental whitewater if you do run into it. So you've now seen me use the Alpacka Scout day floating on a local small stream and then playing around in a whitewater park. But where I really think it's going to shine in my own kit is as a tool for backcountry travel. And I'm thinking about big class 1 rivers that I have to cross and I don't want to swim, or that I want to use as part of my route. So I'm traveling by river as a mode of travel. So now let's take a look at me using this boat on a big river. This is the North Platte in Wyoming. So here are my final thoughts. Number 1, the Alpacka Scout is the most durable boat in this weight class. Number 2, it's the most full-featured boat in this weight class that I've ever used. And what I mean by that is that I don't think there's any other boat on the market that's 2.5 pounds or less that you can actually use in whitewater, or at least mild whitewater where there's no sharp rocks or anything like that. Number 3, this is a very well-built boat. The manufacturing quality is exceptional and the fabrics are very high quality. So take a look at the Alpacka Scout for backcountry use. It doesn't have the durability of a whitewater boat. Sharp rocks are going to puncture these tubes. However, it does have enough durability to manage easy routine rivers with gravel riverbeds. Check them out online, alpackaraft.com. I'm Ryan Jordan with Backpacking Light. Thanks for watching, and I hope you found this review informative. Happy trails.